This is Margaret Brennan. She's the host for Face the Nation on CBS, and she does not want to have this conversation. But when you work with a network, you do what the network tells you. Keep an eye on her face as they go through this. You're going to see her get more and more disgusted. And they're going to talk about why Donald Trump is crushing it in the polls. We even have CNN who's going to jump in, and they're not going to like saying it either. So let's get right to it.
Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House. Joining us with more is our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony. What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret. He's doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign. There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these early numbers.
So that's perception. What about the actual policies?
Well, let's start with the ones that are popular. And again, these echo a lot of what we saw in the campaign. The idea of deporting those in the country illegally continues to be popular. We saw that in the campaign. Sending troops to the U.S.-Mexico border. Again, majority in favor. We'd seen that in the campaign. For his supporters in particular, the focus on ending DEI is popular. We had seen in the campaign, a lot of them thought those processes had gone too far.
With what he's doing with DOJ, with what he's doing at the border, he's making a difference. And the American population as a whole is getting on board with that. Although Margaret's not enjoying it. And as you're going to see in a second, neither is CNN. And as Margaret Brennan said, his approval rating is at 43%. Now, that is huge. Y'all remember when Donald Trump couldn't get approved for anything, when he was hated? Everybody was out to get him. We've seen it in the media. We've seen it in everywhere. And he is coming back and coming back strong. The American people, as a majority, are standing behind him. And part of that's because of how they're describing him, what they're seeing him do. He's tough, he's energetic, he's focused, he's effective. Even though this lawyer just froze access to anybody with anything that has to do with the Treasury. Now, that includes the Secretary of Treasury. That's right. Even the Secretary is not allowed to access anything within the Treasury. That's ridiculous. Another story in there, but this judge really screwed the pooch and made a mistake with that. So let's jump over to CNN. And as you can see on this, I'll let it run for a couple of seconds. Doing what he promised, 70%. This is CNN saying that, and they're not big fans of President Trump. Let's let them do the talking.
70% of Americans say Trump is doing what he promised to do. Again, compare that to April of 2017, when it's just 46%, when Americans are 24 points more likely to say that you're doing what you promised to do. It's no wonder that your net approval rating is much more likely to be on the positive side of the ledger than on the negative side. And so far, what we're seeing, again, is Americans, 21 days so far versus just 11 days during his entire first term, that Trump has a positive net approval rating. Quite a different world.
And what's important to note that the 21 days represents the number of days he's been in office. He's making a difference, and the American people as a whole, 100% on board with it. This is Maxine Waters. She is a congresswoman from the state of California, and she's horrible. She's been in Congress her whole life and just a miserable person. This next clip, she's going to do a little attacking because President Trump is freaking out the Democrats. They're moving so swift, and Elon Musk and DOJ, which we will get to in just a second, they are causing panic. Let's let Mad Max tee off on this guy just trying to do his job.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let him see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Showed you the ID. I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. They didn't see it.
Now, truth be told, I probably let that run a little longer than I should have, but I really have issue with Maxine Waters. She is just a horrible human being. She's the one that's, well, here's a clip of her actually saying we should get in their face. Let's let her do this. Now, I got to tell you, this sounds a whole lot like inciting something, but you know what? I'm not a congressperson. I wouldn't know.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore
You can probably figure out why I don't like her. Since there wasn't a lot going on for the Doge report over the weekend, we figured we'd just put this up. Now, you think about that. If they can go through absolutely everything on President Trump, if they can ask us as American citizens what we spent $601 for, I think we can probably investigate some of these politicians who have become millionaires. In fact, one of them, you'll notice, is Maxine Waters. This is her right here. She's worth around $7.5 million, lives in Beverly Hills, but her district where she works in California is one of the poorest and worst managed districts in the country. As I said, I'm not a huge fan. Well, that wraps it up for today. President Donald Trump's doing a great job moving this country forward. Doge doing a great job making sure we find out where the corruption is. Folks, get out there and push back. Push back against these crazy nut jobs who are saying this is not what we're supposed to do. I don't know about you, but I want to know where the billions of dollars of waste are going. Have a great day. My name is Phil. This is Synopsis of Stupidity, where we look at the stupidity in the world. Hit the like and subscribe. We'd love to have you as our partners. And leave a comment. I promise I'll answer myself.